Beautiful like a sunshine, pretty like a flower. For you I go to the end of the world. It's a time close.
Hello, welcome back again, and thanks for tuning in with us at the NewTimes. Today is a very good day, and I am with Tom Close, a well-known musician who practices as a doctor as well, and he recently released a new album named Essence. Yes, and this is after a gap of 2 years without hearing from you, and the album comprises of 13 songs, and we're here to make a review of it and to get some insights from Tom Close. Stay tuned.
Beautiful like a sunshine, pretty like a flower. For you I go to the end of the world.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good.
Yeah.
You're very welcomed.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we can go straight in. What was your inspiration behind the Essence? The song, the name, everything.
Actually, Essence, as the album, is comprised of 13 songs. On the album, I have a few artists I featured. Some of them are from Rwanda, others are from outside Rwanda. I have an artist I featured from Uganda, Epas, one from Burundi called Sat B, another one from Zambia called Wezi. Of all the 13 songs, I think 7 of them are collaborations. In Rwanda, I worked with Radisson, Ngabo, Betray, and Bulldog. So the inspiration behind this album was the motivation to do something that I have never done before. I've been doing music for the past 16 to 17 years. I've done albums in the past, which like some of them have even become best albums of the year in the past. I've done several hit songs, but this album, I wanted it to become like another chapter of the book of my music career. I wanted it to entertain not only Rwandans, but also the public, the audience from outside Rwanda. So that's why all the 13 songs are in English. Anyone who can read, who can like watch the NewTimes can as well understand what's on the album. Actually, this is the 3rd week of post-release, and several people, not only in Rwanda, outside Rwanda, in Africa, in Europe, in the US, in Australia, and several other parts of the world have received my album very well. And this is actually what I wanted. It shows that it can become the best first step that I have ever made in terms of expanding the reach of my music and getting the Rwandan music across.
Speaking of how different it is from your other albums, how would you describe its style and the sound?
Actually, the other albums, we've always been trying to do good music in terms of listening and also maintaining the messaging and the way we've been writing lyrics to ensure that someone is entertained with what they hear in terms of message, but also in terms of melody. But on this particular album, I've ensured that I bring this identity, African identity, of Afrobeats. You know, now the genre of the world is Afrobeat. That's what is being craved across the world. That's actually what even big artists that we are familiar with have now started doing. I recently heard that Chris Brown is now going to do Afrobeats. He's been partnering with African artists on his projects, but he's now going to do it also as his genre, as part of what he's doing in terms of music release. This style is taking the world by storm, and it's actually what I did, Afrobeats.
What I no gain today, I know I go gain tomorrow. Waiting and raining today. Sun gonna shine tomorrow.
You know, the African Afrobeat was inspired by Fela Kuti, and several other artists have picked from where he left and driven the genre across the world. So that's what I'm also trying to do, to push the Rwandan music through Afrobeats, because we also have our own style of Afrobeats. When you listen to what I did on this album, it's of course Afrobeats, but it has its unique feel that makes it special and comparable in a good way, in a competitive way, with other albums that are getting out, not only in Rwanda, but also the African continent.
But before we move on, you didn't tell me actually why you decided to name it Essence.
Yeah, actually, the uniqueness of each of the songs, of all the 13 songs on the album, inspired the name Essence, because like it's the essence of my music that I compiled together on this album, and it's the new part of Tom Close that the fans of Tom Close who've been with me for the past 15, 16, 17 years didn't know that I could also bring on the table in terms of music production. So like the name is inspired by the whole project of the album. And I didn't want to name the album after any of the songs, not because they didn't deserve it, but each of the 13 songs deserved like being the main song on the album. So I didn't want to give a particular weight to one song, because all the songs have that in them. And if anyone listens to the album, I believe they're also going to discover that.
Speaking of the songs, do you have a favorite on the album?
Yeah, that's what I was actually saying. All the songs, to me, they're like my kids. I love all of them.
No one like that is particularly touching or relatable to you?
Each one of them, actually, I'm asking anyone who has not yet listened to the album to do that, because they're also going to discover that. There's one radio station where I went to. I was going to have an interview there, so they told me they want to push some of the songs on the album, and they asked me to choose at least 4, so that they can also pick among the 4 which ones to push. And then I told them that's very hard for me, because I've like each of the songs that is on the album deserve to be on the album. I was like, okay, maybe you can also guide me which songs are better. So we sat together with them, we listened to the album, and when we reached at the first song, they were like, yeah, this is very good. I think we are going to push this. Then the second, then the third. Every time they were making the same comments. So when we reached at the 5th song, they were like, you know what you said was right. We can't like get 4 songs out of the 13. So we are going to push whichever song, like when you're going to play music, just play them randomly. Maybe after a few months, we are going to see which ones the fans became the fans' favorite. But up to now, like for me, all the songs are equally important on the album, and they are all my favorites, because I can love more than 4 or 5 or 10 or even 20 songs at the same time. Yeah.
Mine is the voice note. Do you want to give us an acapella for that? Is it an acapella or a freestyle? How do you call it?
Freestyle is when you sing things from your head. Yeah, so when you're singing a song that is already out there, that's an acapella.
I don't wanna leave our voice now. Pick up your phone, girl.
So give us an acapella of the voice note. Is it
I
a
don't
voice
know.
note or a voice note?
It's a voice note. But I think my voice is dead. Over the weekend I had a show, and the sound wasn't the best, but the energy of the fans was good. So I pushed my voice. This is not the normal tone of how I speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you hope you get well soon.
Yeah.
You come back.
I'll come back.
For me.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now, at least tell me which song on the album took the longest, and since you're not going to tell me which one is your favorite.
All the songs, like the one I recorded first was a voice note. That's the first song that I recorded when I started recording songs that will be on the album. So I think that's the one that took long in production, because during the mixing and mastering we went through all the songs to ensure that they are updated. So it's the one that has been in the studio for long compared to the other 12 songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question from a colleague from the NewTimes. He
Yes.
said, how would you respond to people who believe that, given your long-standing career in music and the success you've achieved, it might be time for you to retire and focus solely on the career as a doctor?
I think if that was worth a try, maybe we wouldn't be seeing the likes of Masamba, the likes of Makanyaga, the likes of... So music is that type of work where you don't see retirees unless someone dies. That's when they retire. So I believe I'm going to be there until I cannot get time to go to the studio, until maybe I feel I've done enough, but I will never feel that I've done enough as long as I have new ideas to sing about, as long as I'm inspired to go to the studio, as long as I'm still waking up. Yeah.
That's actually very interesting. And I think the reason why he wanted to ask you this question personally, it is because it's rare to actually get a doctor doing music, and which is one of the reasons why people still think you stand out, you know, because you're one of the few who managed to have 2 successful careers in music and then doctor in white collar job, you know. So I know you've been asked this many times, but again, how do you manage?
You know, I always put my time to use for things that are profitable in most cases. You know, I don't go out quite often. When it's time to go out, when others are going out, me, I'm going to the studio. And I've ensured that I have an office at my home. Every time I feel like doing something like working, I just open the door, I go to the office. That's where I write the books. You actually talked about music, but I'm also a writer of books, mostly children's books. I also illustrate them because I'm good at drawing and painting. I've written and illustrated more than 100 books, more than 100 children's books. And so every time I feel like I can do something, what comes to my mind is something that is going to bring back something in terms of profit to me. So that's how I manage to do it. Like when I'm going to the studio, many people love calling it a hobby, but for me it's not a hobby. Yeah. When I'm there, I'm enjoying, of course, because music is enjoyable, but I'm as well doing it as a job, because at the end of the day, I know I'm going to perform somewhere, I'm going to charge people money, I'm going to be able to pay my kids' school fees, to put things on my family table. So that's actually what moves me. That's how I manage to do both, or even several other jobs at the same time.
Yeah, and these are jobs, as you say. So now how does family fit in? How do you get time for your kids and for your wife?
Yeah, I managed to bring my office to my home. Of course, the doctor job, I have to go where I work from. And during that time, my kids are at school. My wife is also busy with her publishing work. And when my kids are back home, out of school, When I want to work, I work at home and I'm seated with them. When I'm drawing, they're also drawing. When I'm writing, I'm also teaching them how to write, so we are interacting. And I'm blessed to have several kids. So when I'm not with them, when I'm busy working, when their mom is busy working, they are also busy entertaining themselves. So there's a way to go around it. I don't think I'm a specialist at that, but several people do that. And I'm similar to them. That's how I do my things. I work at home. I'm going to the studio. Sometimes I even take my kids to the studio. And I record songs with them. So some of the songs on the album, when I went to record them, I went to my kid to the studio with my kids. So they were there. So that's how I managed to like entertain, like bring my kids along, work, and also take care of my kids. Also be present at my at home, because when you're working so much, you end up, you know, not being present at home, like missing out the opportunity to be in the life of your kids.
Yeah. Well, I have another question from a fan. It said, it said that staying relevant and keeping up with current musical trends may become challenging with time. As an experienced musician in the industry, have you ever felt discouraged by anything like that?
I've never. Like yesterday, I was at an interview, and one of the comments that the presenter made was that the Essence album is up to date. Like when you compare it to the trending music, it's up there. So that actually answers the question. You know, for any kind of business to survive in the industry, where new similar businesses come up each day, you have to be like on top of your game. You have to be aware of what's trending, ensure that you push yourself to also be on that level. So that's what I did with the Essence, and that's what I believe to continue to do even in the future, because today we are in 2023. Very soon 2024, 2025 or 2030 will come, and if I want to survive like as a top artist, I need to also be on top of my game and relevant in terms of what I do. Yeah.
That's actually interesting. Also, it makes you feel you take on the different challenges every day and keep learning new things. So you keep.
Yeah, actually, when I went to the studio during the recording sessions of the songs, every time, like, when I'm in the studio, most of the times I don't want the producer to follow like my ideas. I want to listen to them, hear them, and then try to adjust myself according to what they are proposing me to do. Because most of these producers are young, they know what's trending, like you said, and they can give the best advice that can help me to like remain on top. So whenever I went there, what I thought, you know, I could find the producer having a few beats. So whenever I was going to choose a beat to work on or to like modify, I used to tell the producer that I want that kind of beat that no one wants to sing, to use. Because, you know, most of the times artists tend to go for the, you know, the easiest, the most evident, the most something that is showing to be relevant. So when you go for that thing that is challenging, you push yourself to do like the best that you can do. So that's why I managed to pull it off, because I always went for something that others feared to go for. Like that's why you can find me rhyming, singing, sort of rapping on the album. Yeah.
Because that was new as well. And it's the first time you featured the likes of Bulldog and Ryder.
No, it's actually the second time. Yeah, we've worked together in the past. But also Bulldog is the same. When you look at the trend of his music, how he started, how he's doing, it's quite different. And he's managed to like remain on top of his game in terms of rap. They used to do what they used to call old school rap. But now when you listen to his music, he's doing new school. So that's the kind of spirit or energy that I went with working on this album.
And we love to see it. Going back to the album, can you tell me about your creative process when it came to writing and producing the Essence album? This includes your choice of instruments, the selection of musicians you choose to feature, basically the decision-making process behind the work.
You know, I first recorded all the 13 songs. I even had more than 13, but when we were deciding on which songs to put on the album, we only decided to put 13, which doesn't mean that the others that didn't go on the album are bad songs, because we shall put them on the next album. So what we did was to ensure that like the sound of the music is relevant in terms of what is trending across the continent, in terms of Afrobeat music. So what we did was to ensure that the music has that identity, the Afrobeats identity, like the beats, the way the drums are played, the snares, the piano. When we were going for the piano, we chose the pianos that would bring this African sound. And then after recording all the 13 songs, then we listened to each one of them and then decided on which ones to feature, on which to feature other artists. And then after deciding, then we also discussed around which artists to feature on which particular song. And then we went for the artists who were going, like, who would identify easily with the songs. So that's why actually when you listen to the album, one person made a comment that the featurings are as if I'm the one featuring the artists on the songs, because we decided on the artist basing on the kind of music, the kind of the songs, and then these artists were actually fitting. It was like a hand and a glove. And then when they came, like, they brought in that energy. There's a time where an artist, when you're deciding on which artist to feature, you only go for their fame, for the crowds they are pulling. And then when these artists come on your song, they struggle because they are trying to adapt to what you put together. So for this particular album, the songs that featured other artists, we went for the artists who would identify easily with the music, and depending on their styles. And this brought the best out of them. As you could see when you listen to the collabos, the artists actually were so into the songs, even more than myself. Even though I know I did well, but I actually commend what the collaborating artists did, because they brought everything out of them and they did the best they can do to make the songs better. Yeah.
I think for the moment we only have 2 videos.
Yeah, but very soon we shall have some more videos. Yeah.
Okay. Which one should we expect?
Of course, the voice note, your favorite, is already out.
And don't worry.
Yeah, there's a few more songs. There's one that I collaborated with Neil and Radisson. There's one that I collaborated with a Betray. And there's one that is called Fly Away. There's also Mariway. Those are the songs that are catching up. There's one with Betray, Sat B, which is called Superwoman. It is also catching up, but I'll see how I can go around and maybe do all those songs or choose a few out of them and do the videos. But of course, people should expect more videos to come up.
Okay. As you already mentioned, Essence is like a remarkable blend of different genres, like Afrobeats, Afrofusion, jazz, right? Now, How do you feel about the current state of music, of Rwandan music, and where do you see it headed in the future, as someone who's been in the game for a while?
Yeah, there's a remarkable improvement in terms of music production, video direction. Also, the artists, the way they are doing things have started becoming more professional. Several of them are trying to push their music out of Rwanda, which is actually supposed to be the main driving force to ensure that once you move out of your country, now you begin comparing yourself with the best. So for us to make it out there, we need to outcompete or compete on this side by side with the best. So that's what actually people are trying to do, and I actually commend that. And we've seen new faces on the music scene, and all this is bringing improvement in terms of like the best songs. We've seen every era has a set of songs that are going to mark that era. We have songs right now. We have a few artists who are like producing very nice music, and of course every time is going to have those. But I believe looking back in the past 2, 3, 4 years when there was COVID, things are turning to get back to normal, and people have begun enjoying music once more, and things are going back to normal. It's the same as all the other sectors where things are now starting to go back to normal, where they used to be pre-COVID and then going up. So that's actually what also happening in music.
So you're feeling positive about it?
Yes, I'm feeling that's actually why I'm doing my music at this time.
Okay.
I would have waited, but the fact that things are getting back to normal, things are, getting better, that's why I released my album at this time as well. Yeah.
Last one, what can fans expect from you? Are there like new projects that you're excited about? You mentioned more albums in the future.
Yeah, I am actually determined. I'm actually inspired. I believe and I feel I have to release more music. I don't know how this can affect the projects that are already out, because this album needs some time. It's a good album, but the fact that have that thirst of doing more stuff, I feel I should release maybe an EP sometime soon. So I'm also watching the space like anyone else to see how this album is going to do, and then very soon you shall see new videos, and then you're going to see new music coming out, because I need to keep this momentum. I'm gaining more fans across like Africa, and I need these people to remain entertained, and they can only remain entertained once I continue releasing new music, and also promoting this music that I already released to ensure that it gets even further from where it has gotten. Yeah.
Any last thoughts for your fans?
No, it's anyone watching this who has not yet listened to the album, they should go out there. Like, my album is on all the streaming platforms. It's on YouTube, it's on Audiomack, Spotify, Boomplay, Apple Music. It's everywhere. Just go there. Where it requires you to buy, you buy and support me. Where it requires you to stream. Let's push the essence, but also I can never go out there alone as a musician. I need to go there with my fellow musicians. Anyone who has the best music deserves to be supported. So let's support all those artists who are doing good music right now, and ensure that our music goes out and it competes with the best music out there.
Thank you very much for staying tuned up to the end of this interview. Thank you very much, Tom Close, for giving us this time and taking time to make a review on the Essence with me, and giving us more insights about how you handle work and job and and family. Yeah. So all the best, and we're looking forward for more projects.
Thank you so much. And thanks to the viewers and the whole team at the NewTimes.
Thank you all, guys.
Peace.